Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello, Darren DeFries, listening to us from his hospital bed, my boy, bro. That is a dedicated listener, right, Roof?
He is.
Ah, man. Welcome back.
Might be a little crazy, I might say.
Gettin Salty Experience podcast, the only one that brings the Firehouse kitchen table to you. I used to say this in the past, but I'll say it again, Roof. I'm going to say it's the best first responder podcast in the whole world. I'm just going to say that.
Self-proclaimed, or are you going out on the limb and saying just...
it's self-proclaimed, even though Phil Gabagola tonight, he's got a podcast. But
Dude, everybody's got a podcast.
Everybody and their grandmother's got a podcast. They do, but ours is the best. I might be a little biased. You know, we got Gonzo and Mike, and once in a while we trip over Tank. He comes in every now and again.
He says, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah. Well, welcome back, guys. We missed you
for sure.
I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag right now because it was a big. I do it. Give me a second. Give me a second. We had a little scare. The boy Ruffy had to go in for a procedure. We had a little health scare.
Yeah.
Truth be told, he had two blockages. Blockages. He had to go in. He got a stent now put in there.
Too much gabagool, maybe.
Yeah, too much gabagool, baby.
Maybe.
I'm just happy my boy's back. I was very worried. I was texting Rosie every couple of minutes to make sure my boy was all right.
My boy Blue.
I actually said a whole rosary for my boy the night before.
Had a lot of prayers. It was good.
And he came out. He didn't go into the light. I was just hoping he'd stay away from the light, little buddy.
Stay away from the light, little buddy.
I was saying that the whole night. Stay away from the light, little buddy. Stay away from the light, please.
Shout out to my boy Robbie Brown. He found
Rob Brown picking up guys. He's making more grabs now than any guy on the job, bro. Somebody should put him. I'm going to put him in I'm going to send him a salt.
Put him in for an A or something, right?
No, come on.
Hey, he's got to get the. Well, they don't have the Gordon Bennett anymore.
Tony Bennett.
He got to get the Gansey. He's got to get the Gansey. That guy. He's making more saves. That guy than.
Gabe, I'm sending the curtains to you, bro.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me go. Is he hitting it up on the curtains?
But you know what? Like we always preach it. I'm going to say it later on in the health and safety tip of the day. Early detection. Ruffy went for a full medical, called him back, said he had a blockage, went in there, and they roto-rooted him. Then he got put a stent in there.
Oh, man. I wish I had a soundtrack for that.
How you feeling?
I feel good. I have to say, I mean, until, they throw out stent, every once in a while, you hear that somebody went for a stent. It's kind of like a quick... you don't even think about it anymore. But
until it's you.
When you're laying on the slab and you're looking over at the machine and you see the wire going through your heart.
You're like, wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
Silly. Yeah. But
sure.
Exactly. Got to keep waking up. I keep saying all the time, right?
Yeah. Yep. What
So
does it say? Years of finger poking what? The old ticker. Yeah, Medicine Man. Who's that guy? I don't even see him.
No, he's a new guy. Well, thank you. Welcome.
Medicine Man coming in shit hot, bro. Throwing that one right down.
Listen, it's all I'm very mellow nowadays. I don't really get to
You are?
Your ass. What? I'm sorry.
He's got Gonzo doesn't know. He doesn't. He thinks
he don't know the old Ruffy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say he is mellow compared to the way he used to be back in the day. As a matter of fact, my son came in today. He goes, how's Uncle Switch doing? I'm like, yeah, he's doing good. Uncle Switch, like a light switch. He goes on off like a light switch, bro.
Yeah, I haven't switched out. I don't really.
No?
Pretty chill.
Yeah, we haven't had a fight in a while either, so we'll probably do for one. But whatever. All right, let's get to our commercial here, bro.
All right.
I want to say my condolences too for Gonzo. Lost his uncle this past week.
That. Thank you.
Was he old? I hope at least
92.
Oh, I'll take it, bro. I'll sign off for that any day of the week.
I hope I have his gene. 92. And he was running around until he had a stroke about a year ago, and it he wasn't the right ever since that, but he was still running around to 91 years old, man.
You have a full head of hair?
He had a little less than I did, but he had more hair. It just kind of runs in the gene, in the Gonzalez.
I see that.
Dude, I'll take 82 for God's sake. Right?
That's what I said. I said I could have 85, 90, whatever. I'll take it.
I got to go past that. My mother's 85. I told her she's got to be around for another 15, 20 years. I got to have her around.
That's why I try to exercise. And like you said earlier, I go for my checkups every 6 months. Man, I want to be around,
Yeah.
Your grandkids and whatnot.
Somebody told me you go for the prostate like every other week. Is that something that you enjoy? Or
It's a anal induced. Never mind.
Guy's looking around like he's looking for lost change in there. You know what I mean?
He's like, you need a professional assistance. Milking the prostate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right, let's go. Let's get commercial because we got to get. We have a very interesting show tonight. We have two guys coming together. We got a guy who is in the biz, we'll say, Phil Cappadora, and we have a hard charger in Chris Edwards coming in shit hot from the Bronx, bro. Who's got a very
forget about
hard charger. So we'll talk about how their lives became intertwined and how they're trying to get this movie off the ground or a TV series, either or.
Yeah, we're going to be guest starring in it, just so you know. That's part of this thing.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
He's not even listening, but all right, let's go. Let's Jersey Fire.
He's on his phone already. I don't know who he could be talking to.
He's like, what?
No, you just told everybody I had a stent. Everybody's texting me.
Oh, turn the phone off. All right, play the commercial.
All right. Here we go.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Wonderful. We got a new sponsor coming on board. Can't remember his name for the life of me now, but and we got a new commercial coming up for New Jersey Fire. I told Jim at the beginning, everyone's getting old. We got to get a new one on here.
We need to update this.
We need some fresh stuff.
Stay fresh.
Gotta stay fresh. Get fresh. All right, let's bring him in here, Ruff.
All right,
bring the both of them in. You bring him in, buddy.
All right. You ready, guys?
Your heart all right? You're not going to get too excited on the show.
Get too excited. Mellow. Wait.
Nice.
Take it easy.
Deep breaths. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Here we go on the intro.
Gonzo, wait a minute. You're talking to my guy all wrong.
Wait.
Hey, you're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again. I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
And the rough in the background.
Bring him in, Ruff.
All right, here we go.
Here.
Coming to the stage, Chris Edwards and Phil Cappadora. Forget about it.
Hey, Cappadora Jr. Now, Gonzo. That guy's giving you a run for money with that head of hair over there. I don't know what.
Cabago. Over here.
That's it. Chris is in my boat. That's all right. We're in the same canoe, me and Chris. But Gabagol over there has got a full head of hair.
That's youth. He's got the youth going on over there, Gabagol. That's why.
How old are you, Phil?
I turned 37 on the 10th.
Wow, but your old man's got a full head of hair?
Yeah, for the most part.
Son of a bitch, Chris. I hate those guys. Don't you hate those guys, man?
Don't hate too much.
All right, let's get what?
Don't hate too much.
I'm not a hater. Let's play. Let's get patriotic real quick, and then we'll dive right into this whole mishmash of a collaboration here.
All right, here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. Still the best country in the world, right, man? Yep. All right, let's start to unravel this whole mishmash here, how you guys get together. So we got to start with Chris, I would say. Let's jump into Chris's early years, how he got on the job, why he got on the job, what got him into the job, and where he started on the jab.
Yeah.
I was 18 years old, just got out of high school. And at the time, I had my girlfriend got pregnant, and I had to grow up at the snap of a finger. Her father was a New York City firefighter.
Oh my God.
Who kind of like directed me. He's about 6'4" and about 235 pounds.
Quick direction.
He actually worked the 56 truck. And, he kind of like one day, growing up the snap of a finger, he pulled the car over and said, "What? Can we use a 4-letter word on the show?"
Fuck
he
yeah.
said, he goes, "What?" He goes, exactly. He goes, "What the fuck are you doing on the street? You got a baby on the way and you got to go out and get a job." And at that point, I walked down the hill to my house and I fucking went out and started working. And he guided me to go take every single, he told me to take the New York City Fire Department test. My father, who was actually the first sanitation cop in New York City, wanted me to take the sanitation and the NYPD, and I took them all. And I graduated in 77. My daughter was born in 79. I took the test in 77 and I passed. But then we had that protest in 77 where they froze the list for almost 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to, it was either I was going to get on a job or wait for the NYPD. I was on that list too. So I decided to take I wanted to become a fireman. I had no idea what it was about, but I took the test in 84 and I got made in 86, 87.
Now, would this conversation happen before or after he pummeled the shit out of you for getting his daughter pregnant?
Well, it was funny. It was Kevin. He was, like I said, he was a big dude. And one time when he found out about it, where we lived in Worley Heights it's a town between Monroe and Washington. It's a small town. At the bottom of this development, it was made up of New York City cops, firefighters, all city workers. So he was down at the bar, and she tells me my father just found out. So I said, "You know what? I'm going down, and I got to talk to him." And she goes to me, "What, are you crazy? He's down there drinking." I said, "I really don't give a shit." So I walked down the bar, I walked down the hill, and I went into the bar, and he said, "What the fuck are you doing over here? Get the hell out of here. I don't want to see you." I said, "Well, I got to talk to you." So he was a volunteer firefighter. He was a chief in the fire department in South Blooming Grove. So he says to me, "Go over to the firehouse and I'll meet you." That's like about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody's around. So he had the key. So we walked over to the firehouse and he opens up the door and it's just me and him walking in. We walk in the back and I said, "I'm going to tell you right now, you lay a hand on me, I'm going to fucking hit you with the first thing I find." And he goes, No, I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to hit you. I just want to, just want you to understand you got responsibility. And you know what? I had an opportunity about 2 years ago to go down there and to Florida. He moved down to Florida, and I had an opportunity to talk to him. He was in bad shape, but I wanted to thank him for what he did for me. And what I mean by that is that he directed me in one of the greatest jobs in the world. And I went in there, and he was in a wheelchair. And as a matter of fact, my ex-brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, he's like a brother to me. He said, "Chris, he's not going to want to talk to you." So I went over. I said, "You know what, Stevie, I really don't care." Went over to his house, went in. He wheeled himself over to the table. And I said, "Steve, I have to say something to you. I want to thank you for what you did for me." And I said, "You know what? You led me to one of the greatest jobs in the world. And I'm sorry that, what happened between your daughter and I didn't work out, but I want to just tell you something."
Oh, so that part you left out. You guys didn't work out.
No. And you know what? And he got all teary-eyed.
Really?
And I thanked him for what he did. And, The sad part was about 2 or 3 months later, he passed away. But I had that opportunity to thank a man for what he did for me. And you know what? I needed to grow up. I'm fucking 18 years old out in the street playing ball. And in reality, you know, I had responsibility. And from that point on, I mean, I worked every single day of my life up until the fire department retired me on May 1st, 2002.
So you know
How
what?
old was he, Chris, when he passed away? Seems young.
What was that? I'm sorry.
How old was he when he passed away? Seems young.
Oh, how old when he passed away?
Yeah, he had to be young.
Oh,
no?
he was in his mid 70s.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what, bro? Had he laid a hand on you, that would have been a good time for payback while he's in a wheelchair. Fucking cock.
Oh, listen to me, man. I was young and I was crazy. So you know what? It would have been a struggle, but it would have been something I would have found something to hit him with.
Yeah, but you got payback when he was in a wheelchair, bro. You could have got him back, bro. He wouldn't have been able to fight you.
Yeah. What do you mean by put a broom handle in the wheelchair and then do what I got to do?
Rolling down the street. So he gets you.
God rest his soul.
He's the one who points you towards the job, right? So what year did you get called? 80 what?
I got called off of that second list. 86, 87, I got on a job and you know, I had no idea what it was really to be a fireman. You know, that's my probie.
Look at that guy, bro.
Yeah, young. He's young. And had no idea really what it was about. And then you know, I go in and I graduate and they give you they give you your assignment and where you're gonna go. And they said, Chris Edwards, you're going to 46 truck in the Bronx. And I had no idea where it was, you know. All of a sudden, I hear a guy saying, "Oh boy, you're going to 46 truck." I said, "Yeah, this is back in the '80s." I had no idea. So next thing I know, I go over to the firehouse, and it was made up of some old salty madman. You know, getting salty ain't the word. These guys were like
already salty.
Crusty. They were like from the '60s.
Originally salty.
Yeah.
The originals.
And here comes, you know, I looked at it as walking through the big red doors was like the birth canal of life. You walk through those doors.
The birth canal of life. I love that.
And you know, Kev, you walk through those doors and you're born into another world, another life. And you know, you salute the guy on the house watch, you know, you go as you're walking in the back, then you get to the kitchen table. And that's when you get the fucking baptism.
Yeah.
Because this is a nicer version of the kitchen table compared to what it was back then. You know, but it was made up of some real guys, you know, a lot of Harlem guys, Brooklyn guys. It was a mixture. And there were some real tough guys. And it was funny. One of the stories was they go to me, "Hey, Chris, do you see that guy over there?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Whatever you do, don't call him Mike. He hates to be called Mike. You go call him Mikey." Now, this guy's probably about 5'6", 5'7". God rest his soul.
They're already setting you up on Mikey. I can see that already.
Oh, big time. Big time. You know, he's a pro going over. So this guy, and on top of that, well, he was a boxer.
Oh,
so his nose was, you know, of course. So I go over to him. They go tell
our ears and shit, right?
They go over there. Go tell Mikey chow son. So I walk over to him and I said, "Hey, Mikey." Bang, he hits me. And I go, "What the?" I go, "What was that for?" "Don't ever call me Mikey." He goes, "Who told you to call me Mikey?" And all of those guys are standing over there laughing their ass off. They were all laughing. And it was like that was part of the baptism, man. I guess, you know, I came over and I realized then that you know what, the way to make it around a firehouse is never let these guys never let them see anything bothers you. If you keep laughing your whole entire career, they won't get to you. It drives them nuts. And I'll tell you what, years go by, and I always laughed all the time in the firehouse. Never stopped. They'd bust my balls. They start talking about my mother, my sister, whoever. I would laugh and laugh and laugh. So what eventually ends up happening, it's like years go by, like 30 years go by, and I'm at a funeral. And this guy comes over. His name was Pete Backshock, and he was one of the greatest ball busters, man. Pete was a great fireman, too. And he comes over, and he goes, "Hey, Edwards." And I go over there, and I start laughing my ass off at a funeral. He goes, "Son of a bitch, fucking 30 years, you're still laughing." And I said to myself, you know what? I got him. It took me 30 years for him to say, I finally
He's still laughing. Yeah.
I finally got him.
Hey, Ruff, do you remember the first day you walked into 117? Like that's something we should ask guys.
I do.
The very first day they walked in.
I met Tony Mikulich. They were out. The whole company tapped out. They had a second or third alarm in one of the towers that we had over in Astoria by the water. And it was like a really bad fire. So I was thinking, holy shit, what'd I walk into? You know what I mean? But Tony Mikulich was the first guy that I met. But
yeah,
that was his first episode.
Yeah.
No. 2nd Street, 43rd Street.
Right on the 42nd and Astoria Boulevard there. 117.
That area.
Yeah, it was around right in my neighborhood.
Yeah, so I was going to say we got to get to Gabagool now. Let's see let's get Gabagool's story now.
Well, Gabagool's story is his old man was on the job, right?
Yes.
So give us a little history on the old man.
Where'd you grow up? How was it? Where did he work? All that stuff.
Well, throwback. My family is all from Canarsie, Brooklyn, and my dad got on the job right around 84, 85. He got on the job actually in 84, and then he married my mom in 1985, and then I showed up in 1987. He went on to.
Oh, look at that little guy. That's you, bro?
That's me.
Look at that little Taylor's outfit you got on.
That's nice.
That's
you can't see it, but I was actually born with a lot of hair, too.
Thanks.
No, we can see it. The darkness is there. I got it.
I think it was, I want to say it was Engine 309, Ladder 159, the Friendly Firehouse on Flatbush Avenue. That was my dad's firehouse for about 15 or 16 years.
So your old man's Italian, your mother Italian too?
Irish.
Oh, the old Irish-Italian mix, huh, bro?
Yep, I'm a gimmick.
So your old man used to make the sauce, and your mother used to just boil the shit out of meat.
Pretty much. They worked pretty. They make quite a pair.
Now that's the old man right there. He's got the pistol grip.
Yeah, I guess he was drilling. This might have been around 2002 or 3, maybe.
Did you remember going to the firehouse?
Oh yes, absolutely. At Engine 309, and as well as Bronx. What was that? 81.
Yeah.
I remember all of it. I could still smell it to this day. I'll never forget it.
Well, I used to smell like diesel when you walked in there before they had the Needhamans, right? The firehouse was smelling like diesel.
Well, if they had a job, you would smell the smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. We used to go to, I think it was Lido Beach for the firemen.
Yeah, under the mushroom.
Yep.
That's where I live, bro. Right there. Over there.
Haven't been there in like a long time, but it would be nice to go back.
Now you come have dinner with me, Phil. We can hang out.
Sure. Anytime.
So you never.
You got to drive down from Bumblefuck, though. You're all the way upstate, right, or something like.
Well, I'm back and forth between Astoria and upstate.
All right.
Doesn't matter. What's a drive?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ruff. What were you gonna say?
What? So did you ever feel like you wanted to get on the job or any of that? What happened with that? Do you have other brothers or sisters or anything?
Yeah. So I'm the oldest of 4. I think we all pretty much took the test back in 2000, or we signed up to take the test maybe in 2004 or 5. But I got on the job as an iron worker in 2006, and I did that for about a full year. And then going into 2007, before I got hurt, some judge canceled the test, and that was it. So from 2007 to 2012, I was pretty much just in college, and I wasn't working as an iron worker anymore. So by the time the opportunity to get on the job happened again, I signed up for the 2012 exam. But the week of the test, I got sick with mono, and then I missed that test.
So you went to Hollywood version. You went the Hollywood route.
I guess if I was gonna, I guess we could call it poetic justice, how it became full circle on how I got to this point where, no, I'm not gonna ever be on the job. I spoke to a few firefighters on how to come in through the side door, go as an EMS, and then maybe get promoted. I didn't know that until I turned 30, and by then I was like, oh, great. Never mind.
Yeah, you're already set.
Yeah, you're too old.
How did you start up doing the Astoria gig? How did that all start?
It all it's strange because in 2007, I had to get a shoulder operation because the year prior, in 2006, I got hurt multiple times on the job, and I also got hurt in a separate accident because I was pursuing playing college football. So I had to go to college just because under Obamacare, you had to be in school until you're 26 years old just to have health care. And I couldn't work as an iron worker anymore, so I went to college. So I started at SUNY Orange, and I literally just took an intro to theater class wearing a sling just to kind of like...
No way.
just to get my degree.
Dude, that's crazy.
So
you know what's so funny about that? That's familiar. My son's doing the same thing. He's gonna go till he's 26, trying to get a 2-year degree. I don't know.
So I didn't know. I didn't
taking it forever.
I didn't have a degree for the degree. I went for healthcare. That was it.
Right.
But I took an intro to theater class, and the people in the theater class said, we need a guy for this play. So I signed up for the play. I couldn't go to the gym, so I figured, all right, my brother, my sisters, they all did plays in high school. I might as well give it a shot. I don't care. But they said I did well. And then I did 3 more throughout the next 3 months. And then they said, try it. Like, try this a little bit. So I switched from a business major to a liberal arts major, and I just focused more on theater, acting. And I didn't care about the degree. I was just there for healthcare. So the following semester, I did my first acting class. And then when the final came around, there were filmmakers sitting in the audience, and they scouted me for my first independent film. And that film got accepted into the Black Bear Film Festival in 2000. I guess by now it's the beginning of 2008. And the director of that film festival told me to go study in New York. So from 2010 to 2012, that's exactly what I did. And next thing you know, you're the president of the Astoria Filmmakers Club.
I'm throwing the shenanigans flag, Coobs. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know.
Guy goes into for healthcare. Next thing you know, he's like running the top place in Astoria.
Where's the other one? The Astoria film one, Gonzo. I think there's a picture of the Astoria film.
We have that one.
No, not that.
Oh, shit. My bad.
Spoiler.
No, that's the book that
That's
Chris
a book.
wrote.
What about his big break?
Pete, what the fuck are you doing, Pete?
We only have a few to choose from.
Yeah, thus we figured you could.
Yeah, thus we think you would know which one it is, bro.
We'll go back.
Go back to his first big break, then.
That's all we have. What the hell? Which one
That's
is
all
it?
we have.
Go back to the one where he's arrested.
Certificate?
He's a what?
The one before that you just had up.
This one.
No, you dick.
God damn it, you son of a bitch. Which one is it?
No,
Big Ruby break.
That one.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Get it right, Gonzo.
So what is this, bro? That's the guy who plays Batman now, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's actor Robert Pattinson.
And that's
myself.
you?
Yeah, and that's me.
And that's your first big break. What?
Yeah, that was more or less my first break at all. From 2000, after college in 2012, I finished my education at the Neighborhood Playhouse. Shout out, Neighborhood Playhouse. I took about a year just to kind of digest and like reset and try to like figure out what it is I want to do with my life. Do I go back to working as an iron worker? Do I try to like maybe get back into taking a fire department test, but there wasn't any. So I just was figuring shit out. So I just picked up small acting gigs all 2013, 14, and 15. Just background acting was the only thing I could ever book. I applied to every single known talent management agency in the city. I submitted my resume by email and mailed it in, and the stamps and the postage was over $2,000 in that time. Yeah, no, I'm like I was consistent. I even have one of my old like resumes right here on my desk just as a reminder. Like
headshot.
Okay, mugshot.
That's in the post office.
That's so let me get this straight. Not only are they
Honcho magazine. Well,
not only are you the hair club president, you're also a client. Is that how this works?
Yes, I am. Not just the president, also
pulling that one out of nowhere. Look,
that's true.
I didn't know you were an actor too. I thought you just ran the thing.
Well, I guess I could skip ahead, but there was no luck for me to really just I got turned down the entire, like, for years, just nonstop. And one guy in around 2015, I booked a play where I was going on tour for the story of Anne Frank. So I left the city for a while. And when I came back, one of my friends from college recommended Actors Access. So I applied to some sort of social services gig where they just need a cop. And I was like a cop or whatever in everything I ever booked, as whether it's background, part principal, like in the sides. I was always a cop, even on a Spielberg set. And that is a true story. But this 2016 March rolls around. They're filming the show, what would be called Good Time, with Robert Pattinson. And at first I was just a background actor. But 6 months later, they had to reshoot the entire arrest scene, and they asked me to come back in. So of course I show up, I need the money. But what ended up happening while I was there, the guy who actually did make the arrest, he wasn't able to make it that day. He had a prior thing.
He got arrested.
Nothing happened. But the director, Benny Safdie from the Safdie brothers, he just looks right to his left and he says, "What about Phil?" And I just say, "What about me?" So I got promoted right then and there. And now I look like the guy who arrested Robert Pattinson in the movie.
There you go.
And that was it.
All right, now we're gonna get to I promise you guys, we're gonna get to how these two met over here. How we did this. All right, let's get back to Chris. So Chris gets on the job. How did you get to 46 anyway, bro? Did you know anybody or?
Beat me to it, Lil. I was gonna say.
I've never done this before.
Well, yeah, not that I knew at the time.
An uncle or somebody. The fiction.
No. It was. Ouch. I guess it was my father-in-law's friend.
Oh,
you guessed. Brother, I guess.
Well, the guy who wanted to pound you into submission, that guy got your ass up. You not my daughter. What?
They knew I needed a paycheck, so I had to get something, man.
But you get over to 46, right?
Yeah.
In 80, what did you say, 86 you got there?
Yeah, 86, 87 I got over there.
So that's still the tail end of the Bronx is burning over there. Now they're doing some work.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? We had it was a busy company somewhat. You know, I mean, I think we were in the top 20, 25 at the time the truck was. But then what ended up happening is I transferred over to 42 engine. And that's when.
Oh, wait, let me get
that's
that.
when all hell broke loose.
Oh, is that?
We got a throwback.
We got
that.
Wow, who is that? Tom? Is that
Tom Selleck?
That could be Tom Selleck.
What?
Would you like to buy a reverse?
Would
you like to buy a reverse mortgage?
Wow, Rookie's on fire tonight, bro. I think that operation did something for him. I don't know what happened.
Damn, he pulled that shit out of left field.
No, I'm not going to say who this chick was, but she was following him around. They met him somewhere, and she showed up all over the place. I don't know what happened.
It's got the green machine there, too.
I was just going to say, that's 42 engine. That's the green machine there?
Yeah.
It was one of the, I think us and I think 41.
Yeah, it was like 6 of them.
Squad 41 was another one, I believe.
Yeah.
But we were right next to the highway, so it's like.
No, you're right.
You know, right off of.
Were they a single engine over there, 42? I don't even know.
Single engine.
Oh, so they were rocking and rolling over there, huh?
Oh, that's a hot spot, man. That's a good spot.
Yeah.
But at the time I got there, we were like fourth busiest engine company in the city.
So you were seeing some fuego.
And it was, you know, I mean, night and day compared 46 truck and 42. The difference was when I got to 42, actually my first tour on 42. If you remember back in 1997, September of 1997, 42 engine was the firehouse that got shot up.
Really?
They were going out on a run, and it was a livery guy giving them a hard time, and he wouldn't let the rig go by, and it was a confrontation between this driver and a couple of the brothers on the rig. The driver was going to the trunk, and one of the brothers got into a big fight. The PD show up. The driver runs down the block. PD shows up. They pop the trunk, and there's 9mm. The guy's going for a gun. So they go over, they go back to quarters, and Chief comes over, and there's about eight of the brothers sitting out front. And all of a sudden, this guy walks up the block and reaches into the back of his pants, pulls out a 9mm, and point blank range, he points it at the brothers, and he goes click, it jams. And by the time he hit the magazine, they all ran. And he shot out the windshield of the rig. He shot out into everywhere that somebody rolled. This guy shot.
A better story would have been by the time he unjammed it, he had a Halligan sticking out the side of his fucking head.
Well, you know what? If they had, Kevin, if they had enough time to do it, they probably
would have, bro.
They ran their asses off,
No doubt.
And I get there in 1990, and it was basically my first week. So one of the brothers called me up. One of the brothers called in and said, "Hey, Chris, could you hold over for me? My daughter's got a softball game up in Yonkers." I said, "Yeah, no problem." So I'm out, I'm out in front. It's like June. It's a Thursday in June in 1990. It's warm and everything. The music's playing up in the corner. Everybody's out in the street. And so these two little kids are out there playing ball. So I see they got like cardboard all rolled up with tape on it. And I go, I go to my trunk. I pop the trunk. I get a softball out. I go over there, get a clincher, and I'm playing ball with these two little kids. So I got my back turned to the corner, which is probably about 30, 40 feet away. And I hear pop, 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 pop. And I'm thinking it's fireworks, and I got my back turned. Yeah, pop, 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 pop. And I see I'm bending down, picking it up, the kid's hitting the ball. And I look across the street, and I see these people running down the block. And I'm like, oh, shit, what the hell's going on? I go down and pop, 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 and I look at the bricks on the window, on the building. And I see puff, 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 puff. And I turn around, and there's this kid in the middle of the street with an automatic, sweeping the street. And there's 3 people shot up on the corner laying down. There's one guy shot in the middle of the street. I'm standing out in the middle of the street with these 2 little kids. So what I did is I grabbed the 2 little kids, I rolled behind this double parked car, and I'm looking around the car, see what this guy's going to do. All of a sudden, he goes to take the clip out, and I tell the kids, listen, I got to make a run for the firehouse door. So I got these 2 kids that are like 8 years old under my arms, and I take a run about 20 feet behind a double park car and a regular park car. This guy puts a clip back in, ping, 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 ping. He hits a double park car, he hits a legally parked car, and I'm running. I push these 2 kids up against the wall. And I got to pop the combination. I run to the back. Go, guys, listen, we got a major shooting out front, man. They go, yeah, we heard the shots. I said, listen, we got to get out there. There's got to be a lot of people hit. They go, what are you doing? We're not cops who firemen. We got no guns. So I run to the front door. Now everybody's out in the street. I said, listen, they're out. We open up the door. Paulie Gabellini, great fireman. He was in 42 at the time, puts a pair of rubber gloves on, runs up to the guy in the middle of the street. He was actually pumping blood out of his chest, and Paulie put his fingers in there to try to save the guy.
Wow.
He ends up dying. The 3 across the street were actually working with the drug dealer. They were all hit with ricochet shots. And now all of a sudden we go to there's a Chinese place on the corner, and this guy fell in there, and friends grabbed him, threw him in a car, brought him over to Bronx, Lebanon. Then we go down 2 stores, and it was a liquor store. And in the liquor store, this guy bled out. We opened up the door. So this guy, this kid, he was a kid. He shot 6 people and killed 2 of them.
Wow. And
what happens is, PD comes, and there was a girl in the neighborhood that also came in and, told, was a witness to what happened. So I gave a description of this kid, and about 2 weeks later, we're all out in front of the firehouse again. And all of a sudden, this car pulls up. It's up on across the street. And it's like a real narrow street. So all of a sudden, a car pulls up on the other side. So kid gets out of the car and gives us a stare down. I go, come on, kid. Just keep walking. He's going to the bodega, which is right next to the firehouse. I just keep walking. Don't start no trouble. So one of the brothers go over to him and said, hey, listen, you got to move your car down. So the guy starts giving him lip. He said, listen, move your car down. So the guy moves down a couple of feet, being a wise guy. Well, the other guy comes out. The other kid comes out, same thing. He's got the smirk on his face. He gets in the car, and he turns around to us. He takes his finger like a gun, like he's shooting. And I said, bullshit. Boom, boom, boom. I take down the plate, call up PD. I end up telling him, listen, we had a shooting here 2 weeks ago. 6 people shot, 2 people killed. And I just get this kid coming over. And, well, what happens is they run the plate. Boom. That was the kid.
Really?
No
Came
shit.
back in the neighborhood to say, you know what, I can come back and get you anytime I want. And eventually they ended up catching him about a week or 2 weeks later. They caught the kid. You know, his excuse was on the street. The excuse was he wanted to take over the drug corner. And he was only 17 years old. He wanted to take over the drug corner. What he told the cops was that, hey, listen, the guy disrespected my sister. And I couldn't understand for the life of me how, like, I talked to the people on the street. I would tell them, there's a guy down the block who's a drug dealer. You got to understand something. He's not good. No, Chris, no. He brings protection to the neighborhood. I go, no. He's the one that brings the violence into the neighborhood. I'm telling you now. And, you know, as a sick joke that he had a mint 69 Thunderbird with white leather interior, cherry red. He went out and got a license plate changed to hard to kill. That was the big joke in the neighborhood. And for the life of me, I mean, you know, we in that neighborhood, I mean, you were surrounded. It wasn't just an isolated thing. It was one of the brothers were going out, and all of a sudden there was a fight across the street. And it was against a woman and a man. The man was beating the shit out of this woman. And the brother sees it. And next thing you know, a guy runs out of the building, and there's a competition between this guy beating the woman up and the guy trying to break it up. Well, the guy trying to break it up gets his shit kicked out of him. He runs back in the building, grabs a shotgun, comes running out and blows this guy away right in the middle of the street about 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, a lot of people don't understand, especially when you work in these neighborhoods, the type of situations that happen, you know.
That's pretty crazy.
And as a fireman in 42 engine, what I saw, any engine, I mean, this goes to firemen throughout, can go out the country and throughout the city. You have an opportunity to help a kid on a one-way street. If you can give a kid, if you help one kid out of 10 or 20 or 30, you've succeeded to get them out of that element. I mean, that's just, I mean, they really don't last. There's another story about another kid. I used to walk the kids back and forth to school. The mother would come over and I'd take a handy talkie, go, guys, I'm going down the block to walk a kid to school. You know, and I would tell these two kids, one kid was Rakeem and the other kid was Willie. I walked down the end of the block, tell them every time, stay away from the corner for years, 5 or 6 years. And then when I transferred out, you know, I wasn't there anymore. And I really missed helping the kids out. I go back 5 years later, and all of a sudden I have my son at the time was 12 years old. And I pull up and I said, I'm going to tell you right now, my son was a wrestler, you know, at 12 years old. So it's a tough kid. And I said, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, we pull down the block. There's going to be kids on that corner, people on the corner. They're going to call out my name not because I had anything to do with the drug dealer, but because they know me. And a lot of them are kids that, you know, that were growing up in that neighborhood. It's a vicious cycle. So come down the block. My son says, Dad, I'm not getting out of the car. This kid comes down and we want a hoodie. So all of a sudden I pull up, they go, Chris. And they all come down, about 5 of them. They come over and they give me a hug. One kid comes over, puts his hand out, he's got a hoodie on. And I told him, and I knew exactly who the kid was. I said, if you're man enough to come over here and shake my hand and hang out on that corner and do what you're doing, you're man enough to take your hood off and you look me in the eye. You look me in the eye, and this kid takes his hood off and he puts that, and it's a kid, one of the kids from that I used to take to school.
Shit.
And I tell him, I go, what are you doing? What are you I told you not to hang out up there.
It's almost like they can't.
You know, and the kid says, puts his head back down. I said, no, pick your head up, look me in the eye. So we're talking. Well, I laced into him. My son's like, oh my God, my father's telling a drug dealer to take his hood off. You know, this should be crazy. So I asked him about his brother, and he puts his head down. He says, my brother was killed. I said, what? His brother at 8 years old was probably about 6 foot and 175 pounds at 8 years old. This kid could have been a football player, basketball player. If he was living upstate or if he was living in a suburban, he would be a phenomenal athlete. And what happened was he ended up getting a girl pregnant in high school, quit high school, got his GED, and he was having a hard time with, you know, bringing formula and diapers for his baby. And the guy on the corner said, listen, you come work with me, I'll give you $1,000 a week. So what the kid did, He said, I don't want to do it. I got to secure, I'm waiting for my New York State security license. It takes like almost 4 or 5 months to get that. I don't know why it's so crazy, to wait so long. And what ended up happening was the kid kept asking him. Finally, he goes over there and says, listen, I'll go on a corner, but I'm not staying long. I'm only waiting until I get my license. He goes over. Next thing you know, about a week, 2 weeks later, the drug kingpin says, somebody's stealing money. This kid turns around and says, this kid's taking the money. The kid they just took on who just had to be. They said, tell him to go over to Topping Avenue. We want to talk to him. This kid goes over to Topping Avenue. They beat the shit out of the kid. And then they shoot him twice in the face. They kill him. So it's a vicious cycle, man. If you could make a difference in a kid's life as a firefighter, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yep. So how long are you in 82, bro?
81.
Oh, 81, I meant, sorry.
Well, he was in 42 when this was happening.
No, he was in 42. Oh, he was in 42, and then he went to 81. How long are you in 42? That's what I meant to say.
5 years, 5.5 years I stayed there. And then I came back to 81.
What
you went back to the engine?
Yeah, I went back to the engine, yeah.
How come?
Yeah.
What made you want to go back to?
You know what it was? I'll tell you what, when 42, we basically were both, on the back of our shirts in 42, it says no truck. Because there is no truck. You're a single engine company. So you're doing everything. And you're going to bust balls between truck guys and guys in the truck and guys in the engine. So I ended up, the guys back in 81, there was a couple of senior guys that came over to me and said, listen, why don't you come back home? Come back home. So I did. I went back home, and it was a bunch of young guys working in 81, guys that I basically grew up with. And that's a group of them. And that's from that point, I went back to 81. And, we had great times in that firehouse. And we caught a lot of great work. And with the experience from 42 to bring it to 81,
right.
It was like a blessing to be able to, experience that,
Somebody says, ask Chris about Walter and Tommy.
Oh my God. Oh, two of the greatest, man.
All right, hold on. Before we got to get to Chris, to Phil a little bit here too. He's been out there for a while.
He's puffing on his e-cig or weed over there. I don't know what he's smoking of.
Puff give. Puff give.
Pass, bro. Come on.
Mango ice.
Fucking up the rotation.
All right, so Chris is back in 81, right?
Okay.
That's where we're going to leave off with Chris. Now your father goes to 81, correct? Is that where they meet?
That's the Bronx, right?
Yeah.
So I guess they crossed paths. I believe he went in the spring of 2001 was when my dad first got to.
You moved out of Canarsie? Is that what happened?
We moved out of Canarsie in the mid 90s. I started like midway through elementary school. Back in like 93, 94, give or take, maybe right around then.
Right.
Up in Goshen, New York, and graduated Goshen High School in 2005.
Where is that, Ruffy? Goshen? Is that by
right
you?
near me. I'm in Warwick, Phil.
Oh, we're neighbors. We actually beat Warwick for the Spirit Trophy.
Whoa. Take it easy.
Hey,
Take it easy.
Good for you. Good for you.
Oh my.
Oh my. Very Spirit Trophy, a long football rivalry.
What?
But Goshen, if you went anywhere near the Woodbury Commons, you would go west on 17. And Goshen is about 10 minutes down past Chester. Now where Legoland is, that's Goshen, New York.
All right. So you're up at Goshen. Your old man says, I ain't making that trip to the friendly firehouse anymore. So he transfers back over to 81.
Yep.
Right?
That's great guess. You were right.
And that's where Chris meets your old man, Phil Gabagool Sr. Right? Correct. At this point, you're while you're up there, right? We already went through, you went to college, now you're getting into the acting, right? And
so around the time they met, I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, but we're past that with your timeline. We're up to your big break over there when you play the cop, right?
2016.
Right. So
fast forward.
Right. So we're going to fast forward to what happens to you after you get that big break, with
Okay.
Batman. So what do you do after that?
I literally, as soon as I made that arrest, I had just gotten off the plane from my honeymoon. So I was.
I didn't even know you were married.
Well,
all right.
Oh, wait, the story gets so much better.
Oh, all right.
It's gonna get great. So it's 2016. I'm fresh back from watching the Olympics down in Rio de Janeiro. Come back post honeymoon, gained 20 pounds, 30 pounds, and they asked me to make the arrest. And it's like, wow, this year is amazing. 2016 is a godsend. I love every second of it. So my wife and I, we get our own place. Summer of 2017. I'm still, of course, looking for work. Try to find an acting gig, something, but it's not. Being an actor and being a husband do not really mesh at all. Mm-hmm. It is more like your challenge to actually become just a working actor is hard. But when you're only SAG eligible, you're not in SAG, your money's going to be a lot lower. And if you do not have a team helping you, you're already still like it's like you never went to school, or like you have no shot. And that's what it felt like. So I didn't really step aside from acting or anything like that, but I just started writing my own stuff. So in mid 2017, I started actually writing a book. I'm sorry, I already finished a book. I'm sorry, but I started adapting Chris's book because I read Chris's book as soon as I got back from my honeymoon, his life in the fire department coming through the flames. So
now you can put there you go. There you go, John.
Fuck you, bud.
He's on it, bro.
Yeah, even a squirrel gets a nut, you know what I'm saying?
Even a broken
I've seen this picture like 65 times.
Oh, you son of a bitch, too.
Eventually he's gonna get it, right, Ruff? I mean, keep pulling it up.
Out of the 3 fucking pictures, I'm gonna get one of them right.
A, B, or C, let's go away. So I read Chris's book twice, like really quick. The book.
Why did you pick that book? Did you just happen to because you?
No, it was a
coincidence.
No, while I was on my honeymoon, my dad and my mom went to Chris's book signing, and they got 2 copies of the book. And
Nice.
As soon as I got back, I saw the book, and I said, "Dad, where'd you get this?" Oh, he's like, "My friend Chris. I used to work with him. He just wrote a memoir, and we got a signed copy. Quick." So I started reading it. My brother and I had work that day, so he was driving. I was sitting in the van. We're doing our deliveries and stuff. So I read the book twice in the entire span of the shift, and I asked Dad, "How do I get in touch with Chris?" My dad connects us, and then I asked Chris if he would be okay with me trying to turn this book into something of a screenplay. And Chris and I think, had met officially right after my wife and I got our first apartment, where I started like dabbling a little bit on structuring on how to actually write the screenplay. And we had lunch together in Middletown right around June or July in 2017, where we actually got to have like a real face-to-face and just talk. Before that, it was just over the phone. And so like Chris seemed to like the idea and said, "Give it a shot, see what you could come up with." And I'm paraphrasing. And that's how this relationship 7 years ago now is how it all really started.
So you start writing the screenplay about his book. We'll get into his book in a minute. How long did it take you to write that screenplay?
Well, it don't like the first draft. I had a really good 110 pages ready by November of 2017. Mm-hmm. I knew exactly how I wanted the story to go based on some elements of the book, but I thought it'd be more interesting to like have a strong beginning and have it set during the 1990s prior to 9/11, mm-hmm. and try to make it more of a period piece and see if we can tackle why he wrote the book and try to summarize that cinematically. Because it's my understanding that the job before 9/11 and after 9/11 are 2 separate different mm-hmm. things. Yeah. So What I wanted to do is capture basically the heart and soul of the fire department during that last decade before 9/11.
Right. So, Chris, what makes you decide to write a book?
What happened was I went through everything. I had a whole bunch of knee surgeries. It was a knee surgery. And
wait, we do have a picture, Gons. I know you can't fuck this one up. We got a picture of Chris's knee.
It's not the book.
Take it easy.
I'll sign that one.
You dick.
I'll sign
Hey, here it is. Wait a minute.
That was the beginning of the end. That was
So-
really the beginning of the end. And as a matter of fact, the guys.
What year? Wait, what year is this, though, Chris? What year did you blow out your knee?
This is September of 2000.
Bro, you can't put another screw in there, I don't think.
How many screws? What else you got?
No,
man?
no.
Plate. Is that one sticking out on the other side? You got a little pain on that one that comes all the way through?
Yeah. Yeah, this is this ended up being let me see. I gotta count the screws because
I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm
almost
looking
like
at
8
6.
screws.
I'm looking at 6, maybe 7.
But that was, I'll tell you what, that was in March of 2001. Because that
Now,
was
the
the
reason they
final.
put so many screws in is because you blew out your knee and you wanted to get back to the job, and they wouldn't let you back if you had a knee replacement. Correct?
Correct. Right.
Okay.
I went through a series of reconstructive surgeries starting from September of 2000, October 2000, December 2000, and March of 2001. And it was a major infection in 2 of the main operations. I was in the hospital for a month and a half between the 2 of them. The doctor couldn't understand why it was
such a dick, Gabe Fox.
why I was trying to come back, and I told her to love for the job. But what ended up happening was,
this is what I don't get. Hold on, Chris. They'll let you put that many screws and plates in your knee, but if you have a knee replacement, they won't let you back.
Well, Louis, Kev, the only way I could get it done, the first time was 2 screws and a metal plate. That was the first one in September of 2000. Then it got infected in the hospital. I was in for 2.5 weeks. They had to take it out because the bone graft was eaten by the infection. Now I got to walk around with a broken leg for 2 months. Now I could have retired anytime I wanted, but the love of the job is I just love the job. So I go through that, and what eventually ends up happening is the doctor from the fire department said, listen, got to get another opinion. I went for another opinion, and that doctor down in special surgery said, look, I could put a halo on your knee. You got to turn the screws every day. I said, how long is it going to take me to come back to work? He says, that'll take you about a year. I said, I don't want to wait a year. I said, what's the fastest I can come back? This doctor says I can do the osteotomy all over. 2 metal plates, 8 screws, and bone graft off your hip. And what ends up happening, I'm in special surgery, gets infected again. And I'm in for another 2.5 weeks.
How does this happen when they keep getting infected? I mean, hospital for special surgeries, you get hospital.
Shoddy medical work.
You know what it was, Kev? The guy that I was rooming with, he ended up being in an accident years ago. He got an infection in the hospital. I was rooming with the guy.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they come over to me, and I got this red line going up my leg. And they marked it. Next thing you know, they go, listen, we're going to have to put you in isolation. So they take me. I tell you, they did me a major favor. They put me over the East River with a hardwood floors, a refrigerator. I had a big TV. And all they did was count the barges going back and forth to East River for 2 weeks. I had a maid in the place. The nurses were great. And I had antibiotics. They were just pumping me up. And then eventually what ended up happening is I got it cleared to leave. And, I got out of the hospital in March of 2001. And, like we all know about the terrible fire out in Queens, the hardware store, with the 3 brothers get killed. And now it's like I want to come back even more. And then you had a fire in August where the kid Mike Arumba died from a heart attack. And that kid worked with me up in the Bronx. And it's now you want to even come back even more. And, 3 weeks later, September 11 comes around, and I'm down in a hole for 2 weeks. And, when I basically got out of the hole after 2 weeks, I got out, started going to memorial services like we all did. And then I wanted to come back to work. I talked to the doctor, fire department doctor. He says, Chris, you got to get the plates and screws out before you come back to work. So what I did is I went in, special surgery in December, got everything taken out. Nurse comes over and says, Mr. Rebels, you ever have a heart problem? I said, no. She goes, you got a serious heart problem. I go, I got no heart problem.
What?
got my heart problem. I just went through.
That's kind of how I found it.
Hey, Mr. Refrano, you have a serious heart problem.
What? Oh, it gets worse. And so what ends up happening is I go, I said, shit, she goes, you better go tell the doctor. So I go to the fire department doctor. It just happened to be a cardiologist. I won't mention any names. And he takes a look at the paper and he says, look, I'm going to put you on light duty for 4 or 5 months until all the holes heal from the screws. And then he says, I said, all right, doc, and he goes, did you take a trade center medical yet? And I said, no, I haven't. So he says, why don't you go take one now? I was in Brooklyn. So I went over, the EMS guy goes over, puts the thing on. I come back with the EKG. I give it to him and he looks at it and he goes, I can't bring you back to work. Yeah. He goes, you got a left bundle branch block. And I said, you know what, doc? That EMS guy didn't put those things. I got a hairy chest, doc. I got to shave,
Let me shave this shit up and then I'll come back.
Oh, yeah. And it was like pulling the hairs out, Kev, because those razors don't have no shaving cream. So next thing I know, he says, I never let anybody take it twice, Chris, but I'll let you take it again. So I went in, I go to the EMS guy, I go, listen, brother, what the hell did you do to me, man? You didn't put them things on? I shaved, I came back, I gave him the paperwork. He looked at it and goes, I got to retire you. He says, you're not going to be able to go back to work. You got a major, major heart problem. So he said, we'll keep you around and we'll retire you with your knee, but we're going to keep you around to find out what serious heart problem you have. And, they sent me to St. Francis and did a stress test. And, I go over there and I do the stress test and all of a sudden everybody's leaving. People coming in, after me. And I'm like, hey, nurse, can I leave? She goes, Mr. Evans, the doctor wants to talk to you. And I go, oh, shit, here we go. I said, is it that bad? She goes, he wants to talk to you. I go in the guy's office and all of a sudden he looks at me and he goes, Mr. Evans, when is your appointment for your cardiologist? I said, doc, I'm coming down tomorrow. He goes, no, you're going to go right now. I go, wait a minute. I says, is that bad? He goes, you know what an ejection fraction is? I said, I have no idea. 55 to 75%. Right, guys, it was a normal heart. He goes to me, your heart's working at 21%. He says, you should be on oxygen and a wheelchair. And I told him, I said, I feel great. I really feel great. And he goes to me, you're going to go see the cardiologist now. I said, all right, I'll let me go out to get my car. I'll drive around to the other wing. He goes, no. I'm getting an orderly to wheel you there. I go, what? They got a wheelchair. Put me in a wheelchair. He brings me to the other side of the hospital. And one of the greatest doctors, Dr. Robert Galata, the father, great guy. The son was good too. But he walks into the room and he looks at the chart, in great bedside manner. He goes, Mr. Edwards, this is you? I said, this is me. He goes, I was expecting to find an 80-year-old man that couldn't walk in a wheelchair and on oxygen.
Yeah. Instead of him looking at your chart and going, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
This guy's fucked.
I figured I was
like Costanza. What cancer? Get out of here.
What eventually ended up happening is they retired me on May 1st, 2002. The orthopedic doctor and I went through this whole thing from September, and very, very emotional. And she was brand new on the job. And when she knew that I wasn't coming back, basically both of us, I started crying my eyes out. So
dude, thank God I'm not the only one, bro. I remember getting the news. I was crying like a baby. I called my brother. I'm like, they're not let me back.
Yeah, Kevin. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, it was heartbreaking. And she goes, I'm going to tell you something, Chris. You set the bar very high for anybody that ever comes. And she was just starting. She goes, if anybody comes in here after all the things that you've been through to try to stay on the job, she goes, you set the bar very high for anybody else that comes in here.
Yeah, I mean, for all the shitbags and get on the job, wanting to get off the job. You mean those guys? Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? It was.
So Chris, what did you? So that's where this is when now you're retired. Your mind starts working, and this is where you come up with the idea. Like, how did the idea even come up with the book?
Lou, I felt sorry for myself for about 3 years, and I was sitting at home and I'm very depressed and stuff. And so what I ended up doing was I said, I got to go to church. And I moved up towards this town called Sparrowbush. I moved up here, and there's like maybe about 10 or 12 churches in the area. So I went to a Catholic church. It's called St. Mary's, and I went in there, and I kind of made a deal with God. I said, you know what? I'm going to come here every single day, and you got to tell me why bad things happen to great people. Why like 9/11? I had too many questions. Why take the lives of great people? So I started going to church. I went into church. I said, I'll come every single day till you give me an answer. So after after 3 months of going every single day from 9 o'clock in the morning, 5-6 days a week, after 3 months, I got frustrated and I walked out, and I'm looking in front of the church. And if anybody seen me, they probably would have called the cops thinking I was nuts. I was screaming in the front of the church. I said, I come out here every single day, and you haven't given me an answer yet. I come to your house, and you haven't given me an answer. During this time, I looked over to my left, and on top of Port Jervis is an American flag. On top of the hill, it's called Point Peter. I said, okay, God, you know what? I'll come to your house. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive up to the top of the mountain. I'm going to get a little closer to heaven, and I think you'll hear me a lot better. So what I did, I got a notebook, black and white notebook, and I drove up after church. I went into church, took the book, went up on top of the mountain, and started writing these stories about the shootings, delivering a baby, brothers dying on our jobs, and different things. I kept writing and writing and writing. I went to church for 2.5 years. If I missed 10 days, that was a lot.
No shit.
And I went every single day. My wife goes to me, are you seeing somebody? So what do you mean seeing somebody? I go to church.
Yeah, hey,
to church.
Hey,
yeah, right. You're going to church. But I finally got about 6 or 7 black and white notebooks. And there was a woman that I went to high school with, and I told her about it. And she was going to community college up here in Orange County. And I told her about it. She goes, Chris, I'd like to help you with the books. I gave her all the books. She put it into a book form. The book was written for my children, only for my kids. We have a clock. If you were down at the World Trade Center, we have a clock that's ticking. We all know that. Mm-hmm. And that's just being honest. And I know that, with the pacemaker, now I got a pacemaker defibrillator in, already got a pacemaker defibrillator. So I know my time is limited. So I figured, I want to get these stories out to my children. So later on, when I'm gone, all of a sudden they could say, you know what? Go read this about your great-grandfather. Go read this about your grandfather. Read about what he was. And the stories were based on different things that happened in my life that basically formed me into who I became. And she gave me the book form, and she goes, listen, I got a couple of professors that would like to read it. I said, listen, I want to make it for my kids. She goes, no, let me give it to these professors. She gives the professors. All of a sudden, she comes back and says, Chris, they love the book. Your message is so profound, what you got, about hope, faith, and never giving up. Because you got to give it to somebody else. So she says this to me, and I say, you know what? This woman, Linda, her name is Linda. She goes to me, listen, Linda Lucas, she goes, listen, they love the book and they think you should publish it. So I go, all right. And I'm saying to myself, you know what? They work with her, the professor, so they like her. They know she's going to work on a book. So they're not going to say anything bad. So I go to a diner where I go with Stewie's over here in Matamoros, Pennsylvania. And I go in there and I give it to a waitress named Diane. I go, Diane, do me a favor, read this book. Tell me what you think. She goes, you wrote this? I said, yeah. She goes, oh my God, Chris. I said, I don't care. You could chew it up, spit it out. I don't care. I want your opinion, truthful opinion. So I come back in a week. She starts crying. She comes over to me. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. I said, Diane, I didn't want you to cry. I don't want it to be sad. She goes, no, Chris. I laughed, I cried, I laughed, I cried, I laughed, I cried. She says, I can't believe that you firefighters go through what you did. And I said, yeah, but I said, she goes, Chris, I love the book. So I leave there and I go, you know what? Diane's got to say something nice because I come in there every day and I got to leave her a tip.
Still not believing it. Right?
I'm not believing it. So what I started doing is I joined the DART team back in 2005, started traveling all over. And we're down in Texas, and this big Italian guy, Paul Lapano, we're flying back from Texas, and we got to go to Philly, and then from Philly to Newburgh. And he goes, "Hey, Edwards, I heard you wrote a book." And I go, "You know what?" I said to myself, if I'm going to get a true opinion, give it to a brother, because they don't give a shit what they say, how they chew it up and spit it out. You're going to get a true opinion. Bro. Yeah. There's no mercy. So I gave it to him, and he's sitting in the airport down in Texas, and I'm looking at him. He's reading it. I said, "Oh, shit, Paulie's reading the book." So next thing he goes, "You mind if I read it on the plane?" I go, "No, Paulie." So next thing he reads it on, he's on the plane. I look at Paulie and go, "Oh, shit, he's reading the book." So we land in Philly, get a connected flight to Newburgh, and Paulie comes over to me with the book, and he goes, "Chris, listen, I love the book. I love the book." I said, "What chapter you get up to?" I got up to chapter 23. I said, "Paulie, listen, you're almost done. You only got 20 more chapters to go." He goes, No, I'm going to wait till you publish it." So I'm saying, "No, I just finished, we're going to take you an hour." No, I'm going to wait till you finish. Gives me the book back. So we land in Newburgh, and Paulie comes over to me and says, "Listen, I love the book, but I got up to the part about your father and how your father suffered through cancer." And he said, "I didn't want to cry in front of anybody." He goes, "I don't want to cry." I go, "Well, Paulie," he goes, "Chris, I'm going to tell you, that book brought me right back into the firehouse. You might be in the Bronx, you might be in Manhattan, you might be in Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, wherever you're working." He says, "It's the same cast of characters. Yep. It's the same group of guys. No matter where we go, every firehouse has that guy." And, that's so once I said it, I called the woman up and I said, "Linda, let me tell you something. I'll publish it." She goes, "What changed your mind?" I said, "It passed the Paulie test." She goes, "The Paulie test?"
Uncle Paulie.
I go, "Yeah, 6'3", 250-pound Italian guy who's a fireman and said he liked it." So that was it. That's how it all started. And what happened was I felt funny taking money for it. So what I did throughout the whole time is I did fundraisers and book signings. And what I did is I raised over $2,700 for brothers. Kevin Rooney's wife, Kevin was in 42, passed away from cancer. I raised $1,500 for his wife. Ricky Scott, his wife April, is suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease. She has to go get special medication. I did a fundraiser for her. I did a fundraiser for the Special Olympics, gave them money, and I also did a fundraiser for a local friend of mine down in town that had trying to get a liver transplant, and what eventually ended up happening was I raised $500 for his family. So, and now with the sales of the book it cost $1,776. And what I do is the reason why it's $1,776 is because that's how tall the Freedom Tower is. They wanted me to ask $25 for the book. And I said, no, I want it to be substantial. I want it to be $1,776. I get $5 from the book on the sales. And what I do now is I'm not doing a fundraiser. I'll go into a restaurant and I'll see an old veteran with a hat or a firefighter or an old firefighter. What I'll do is I'll buy their dinner or lunch or breakfast. And that's how I give back. Because that's what it's all about.
It's so funny, Chris. I do the same thing because I have an ATM.
We have to.
I have an ATM business, right? So when I'm out there filling ATMs, I can't tell you how many people every single day say, "Hey, why don't you give me some of that money? Is that your money? Why don't you give me some of that money?" But there's sometimes that I walk into a place and somebody just starts talking to me, and they're the sweetest, nicest person. And I wind up and I go to the cashier and I say, "Hey, do me a favor, buy them breakfast for me, please." You know what I mean? And I just walk out. I don't even tell them it's me. I just walk out.
That's exactly right.
And I feel great. I do it 2 times a week. When I go out, I find somebody to give money to. And it makes me feel good if you just go into the right place, bro.
Not when I'm in town, but
no, I don't want to buy it for you. Well, I have to buy it for you because I know you got those short arms.
The alligator arms.
He's got the alligator arms. Wait. All right, so you write the book.
Philly, where's Philly at now?
Philly picks up the book, and Philly's going to write a screenplay about the book.
So where are we at with the screenplay now, Phil? Where are you at?
About the screenplay, where are we at? Well, you made a podcast about it, right?
Yeah. So in the early stages,
Phil, you all right? Because I saw you puffing back there. You're good.
Coming up for air.
Yeah, I'm cruising. I'm fine. So it's around November of 2017, and one of my best friend's moms, Mrs. Condon, she was actually a dispatcher, I believe, for 911 or FDNY.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she told me, Philly, there's this firefighter doing actor mixers at Murray or Murphy's Bar downtown near the Trade Center. You should go check it out. So I did, and that picture I showed you is where I met. I'm positive it was firefighter Mark O'Brien and Colin Quinn. And I brought my screenplay there because I wanted some feedback and I wanted to do a read.
Gonzo, good thing. I was just about to jump all over your ass, bro.
I'll wait till the show's over, bro.
Hey. Mr. Colin Quinn, thank you so much. It was great to meet you again. I guess we'll reconnect. Gary Ramsey was also my teacher at the Neighborhood Playhouse. Shout out Colin Quinn. And rest in peace, Gary Ramsey. All right. So I wrote the screenplay. I'm trying to just start shaking hands, just let him know what it is I'm doing, what I plan to do. And I met Mario Polite that night. He was there, befriended him. He's a firefighter, I believe a lieutenant. Well, we've kept in touch, and he knows a little bit about Fireland. And what I really wanted to do now at this point, I actually converted the screenplay because it was too short and the book is too big. So I broke it down into episodics. So I stretched out the whole screenplay. All of it is useful, just not in episode 1, 2, or 3. Had to take up the entire first season. So I went back to the book and I started seeing other things where I could start filling in all the gaps. I have the here, I'll show you. I have the entire thing practically done. So, yeah.
That's hurting me already.
My back. He's picking it up.
The whole thing. It's done. The only thing I got to do, honestly, is just fill in the gaps. The entire book, the entire episode, every single episode.
You got a couple of actors
accounted for.
And what's calling it Fireland, right? It's not.
Yeah. So the show is now working title called Fireland. Episode 1 is now available as a demonstration on a podcast play, and I really got to give a shout out to Nancy Carbone at Friends of Firefighters.
Oh, we love Nancy Carbone, bro.
Yeah, I started meeting all of you around the time I met her almost 2 years ago. So Nancy is good friends, I think, with Kevin Smith, and I listened to him on a Joe Rogan podcast years ago, and he was saying something along the line on what Hollywood is kind of trying to do as far as getting scripts some attention. And Kevin Smith mentioned that they're converting these stories into a podcast presentation first to generate a fan base and get interest. So I thought that was a brilliant idea. So instead of me actually mailing in scripts, like I had so much success with my headshot, I just thought, all right, what if I did a theatrical presentation of Fireland as if it were like an audiobook, and just let people decide whether or not if this is a TV show they want to see. So that's exactly where we're at. I started the Astoria Filmmakers Club and got all my friends and family from the Astoria Filmmakers Club to perform in the pilot episode. And what we're doing is crowdfunding. And I got that idea because that's what happened with Dallas Jenkins with his TV show called The Chosen, which is out in theaters right now in season 4. It's a story about Jesus, and what a phenomenal TV show. Shout out Dallas Jenkins. But I love the idea that people get to decide what type of shows they want to watch instead of Hollywood deciding for them what they're going to watch. So that's the model, more or less, I'm going for. Because like I said, everybody has a story to tell, but sometimes reading becomes a job. We want to hear the story first. So through the Astoria Filmmakers Club, what I would like to do is actually have it be an original production, an original TV show directly through us. And if people want to actually see this show, episode per episode per episode per episode, season to season, they donate directly to the charity. The charity produces the show. They watch the show for free.
And where is that, bro? How can they donate to the show? Excuse me.
By going to AstoriaFilmmakers.org, you'll see a donate button, and you'll see the campaign for Fireland. You could listen to Fireland, the podcast play for free on all streaming platforms, I believe.
Which I did.
Right now, you could do that?
Yeah, I listened to it. It's good. Yeah.
It's been we released episode 1, Hell's Gate, on September 11th this past year.
Which takes you through Proby school.
Yeah. So you'll actually get to get an idea of all these characters, the introduction on year 1. So it's set in 1992, and we're going to be following their journey leading all the way up to 9/11 in just 9 short years away.
Are you guys talking like all the time about it, or no? It's kind of past that point.
You mean as far as like me and Chris?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've spoken about it, prayed about it, and we really wanted it like we're sharing the podcast, and I'm telling people like you guys on what the point of it is and how to get involved, because it's going to be an FDNY collaboration story. Like, even if anybody has an idea for an episode, I'm probably going to find out during the making of it where we're going to implement like true stories, because that's what the story is really about. It's not so much about these characters. The main character of Fireland is the fire department, and that's basically what we're going to be seeing. And it's going to be
right. When I listen to it, there's not really one main character. There's the lieutenant, there's the probies, and there's not really one character that you zone in on.
How do people, like I see here, text Fireland to this phone number? What does that do?
That brings you directly to our website. We have a hotline, and you'll be able to see. You'll actually be able to see the campaign. You'll get a full description on what the story is about, and it'll also take you to a link on how to listen to episode 1. So,
all right, so that's text Fireland, Fireland, to the number is 646-681-2810.
Yep.
Now, how do they, like you were just saying, like if people
I listened to it. I forget which you sent it to me, and I listened to it on I don't remember how I listened to it.
Well, it's on Amazon Music. If you type in Fireland podcast,
maybe that's why I got it. Amazon. Yeah,
it's on Amazon. It's on Spreaker. It is on YouTube. It's on SoundCloud.
On Spotify?
I don't know if Spreaker sent it to Spotify, but I know it's on YouTube.
All right, I'll take a look at it. What? So this is what I want to ask you. I could listen to it on Spreaker. What you were saying that people will, instead of Hollywood dictating what's coming up, people will dictate. How do the people that are listening to this now, how do they like vote for it or promote it? Like how do they do that?
Well, with that link, you could share the campaign anywhere on social media. You could either make a donation directly or help raise money, and you could become a fundraiser yourself, and you could challenge your network to donate up to, say, $100. And if you spread that onto, say, Facebook, everybody could chip in $5 and you'll hit your goal. And then that money will go directly to the making of Fireland.
I'm going to put it on the fan page tomorrow.
Oh, thanks. So,
we're almost at 80,000 people on that, bro. On the fan page. Wow. That's crazy. A lot of people see it.
Crazy. Well, fun. Like, that's actually how I met one actor in particular, was through the fan page. Last summer, I was looking for some help. If anybody wanted to, like, maybe jump in and be a voice, Deputy Chief, shout out Chuck Adams. I met him on the fan page, and he's actually listening right now. And
name drop.
Also from New Orleans, and there was a little bit of a hesitation from the fan page. They weren't sure if this was spam or legit or not.
Yeah, I think I remember that, Phil.
Oh, that was us. That was me. And Chuck is like, "Yo, it's legit," and here we are on the podcast.
There you go.
That's pretty wild.
So that's what I mean. Full circle. Like, it's just.
Oh, laughing like a circle.
What is your dad? We'll get back to Chris. What does your dad say about that, Phil? Like, is he pumped about it? Like, what does he think about it?
Fireland?
Yeah.
I know in his own way he's very proud. It was I think it was a little like, it was tough for him as for me not becoming a firefighter and being an actor, because it's not
I got it.
It's not a likely thing to happen. When you act between getting on the job and becoming an actor or doing anything. So kind of go back to what you asked before on why I even started the AFC, is because I couldn't get a job. And I wanted to create a community where it's sort of like its own ecosystem, where you're not trying to break into Hollywood. I'm just saying, why don't we just create our own Hollywood? What would it look like? And that's exactly what I built. So,
I mean, it's huge, right? I mean,
it's so tiny and small, but I got 1,000 filmmakers on our Facebook group.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're
man.
growing. It's really not that complicated. Ultimately, you want people to watch your movie. That's the ultimate goal, whether it's on streaming or in theaters. That is the ultimate goal. But before that, you have to write a story, and some people just don't know how to do that. So through our nonprofit, on Sundays, we have what's called the Writer's Room, where if you don't know how to write a story, or you want to learn how to write a story, or you have one, that's the space where we start. And then we always had mixers live and in person every Wednesday night in and around the city, and definitely online, to just kind of bring people to the table on, you got an idea? Great, let's talk about it. So by Sunday, we would have read something, and most recently now we actually produce something. And we got a mixer happening on St. Patrick's Day this year. We're going to be getting together just to kind of say goodbye to the winter and hello to the spring. And now we also have, I'm sorry.
Pints.
Yeah, pints. But
fucking points.
So basically now we have, like, say you have all these scripts and you have to shoot a movie. A lot of these people have already filmed the movies before, but there's nowhere to show them. So I created the Tri-Borough Film Festival, which is New York City's exclusive Battle of the Boroughs, where you got Best Actor, you got Best Writer, Best Director. And we hosted that in the last 2 years at Kaufman Astoria Studios at the Zucker Theater. And it was just basically what got me on the radar from, I guess, the New York State Assembly, where they said, you're doing a great job. Here's a citation. And at first I had no idea what they meant. I thought I was getting 2 tickets and getting in trouble, but no, I guess this was a good thing that I'm doing, and it was really validating.
Who's the Asian chick, bruh?
Yeah, that's Serena. She represents, I think, Assemblyman Chang in the 44th district.
Right.
So
let me ask you a question. Let's say I knew a guy who had a great idea for a 1970s war year TV series. How would he go about getting somebody to write that if he had a good one page and he had a good outline for a script?
You see how he did that, guy? How he did that?
How would I get somebody to
you know what? Hold on, before he even says anything else. When Phil was talking, I was looking at Coobs and I'm like, there is no way that little bean, that hamster in that was running around.
What do you mean hamster, bro? What?
I knew it was coming out.
What if I got a good one page and an outline for a show, bro? Who would I send that to?
I already knew.
Goal?
Well, me, I'm the president.
Oh. Maybe he didn't know. Not only is he a hair club president, but he's also a client.
You got the casting couch.
Hey, before I forget, I had an idea. Hey, Chris, since this is all happening, right? Do you find yourself, because Phil was saying that possibly you might want other stuff to fill in some of these things? Do you find yourself wanting to write other stuff? Like, are you doing that in the book or like on your little pads or anything?
His marble notebooks.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I started writing another one about a trip we went on a dart team. When I started doing a dart team, 2005, I started, like I was telling you, I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself, and I got involved with the dart team, and I went down to Katrina for 3.5 weeks with a firefighter, Johnny Seiler. And we spent 3.5 weeks down there, and that trip was like something out of, it's all the prayers that I've ever given in my lifetime during after 9/11, like all came in a point at that trip. And that I'm working on that right now, and I got probably about 5,000, 6,000 words I'm going by, and I still got more to do. But that's an overwhelming story of so many different things. And in the book there, it's a lot of things I wrote in the book about things that happened. Some people call them weird, some people call them strange. I think it's like a divine intervention, a lot of these things that happen. Like I wrote about a mosaic that was given to me by a woman down in Missouri. And then the connection between that and the way it came about to bring back to my firehouse was like overwhelming. The woman in Missouri ended up going, she lived in near Lake of the Ozarks. She travels 4 miles, 4 hours to go upstate in Missouri, and drives by a school that has a sign that says art auction in the school on a weekend. This woman walks in and she goes over, and there's a beautiful mosaic. She goes over there and she puts a bid on it. And this woman just happened to be the owner of a excavating company who on after 9/11, she sent me these beautiful Norman Rockwell statues of firefighters. She wanted me to have them. I never met her before. And then all of a sudden, I had to go out, and I had a house out there, and I was taking all the stuff out of the house. Just so happens I was out there at this time, and I stopped over there to just thank her for these, for these statues. And next thing you know, she goes to me, listen, Chris, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. I said, yeah, Rosie, I came in to say thank you for, the statues and stuff. Next thing you know, she says, I have something for you, but I didn't know how I was going to get it for you. And she goes behind the counter. She takes this white sheet off, and there's this 4x5, probably about 3x5, beautiful mosaic, all tile work of an American flag blowing in a breeze. And she says, Chris, I want you to take this, bring it back to your firehouse, and give it to the guys in the firehouse. So I was like overwhelmed. So we take it, put it on, it's weighed like 150 pounds, and put it in the back of his pickup of a U-Haul. And now I'm taking it back to the city, back to New York. I'm driving across. So I get on the phone. I call my brother who lives in Missouri. I'm talking to him about the trip. And he goes, how did everything work out? I said, great. But I said, you know what? I got to stop by Jerry Riedel's house, his business. And his wife gave me this beautiful giant mosaic. I didn't know what the word was. I just said a beautiful picture of an American flag blowing in a breeze. So he goes, what does it look like? I said, it's made out of like little pieces of tile. So my brother goes, how big is it? And I tell him. And then all of a sudden he says, you know what? Hold on. You got to talk to my sister-in-law. She gets on the phone and she goes, Chris, what does it look like? And I tell her. And she goes, what does the woman look like? I said, she's got red hair. She goes, Chris, a woman came into our school up in parts of Kearney, Missouri, and she came in and she bid $450, $500 on this mosaic. And she goes, I asked her what she was going to do with this mosaic. And she says, I'm buying it for a friend who's a New York City fireman. That mosaic, she auctioned out. It was auctioned out, and she bought it from my sister-in-law. And I took that mosaic, drove down, we got it in the back of 46 truck. It's hanging on the wall and around the pictures of the brothers who were killed. And those are some of the stories, and there's other stories like that.
I like those. That's a good.
And these are things I embrace, and I think a lot of it had to do with, if I didn't start going to church, man, who knows where that.
Dude, I was just gonna say that. You went to church, bro.
I don't know where it would be.
Hey, Chris, what is that? What is that above your head there?
Huh?
That writing. What is that above your head behind you?
Oh, Phil or me?
You, Chris.
Oh, I got. What happened was Howie Carpenter was killed in the Bronx. He was working a 42 engine. He was working over in 7533 on August 28th with Michael Riley. And what I did is we went out to Colorado Springs to the memorial. They put Howie's name out in a memorial in Colorado. And when I went out there, I took the names of Kevin O'Reilly. I etched the names off of the
you traced it. You traced
Dave Weiss.
The other one, the one that's directly over your head.
Which one? The one,
the long one, the big one.
Oh, directly behind me, right here.
Yeah,
those are the names. Those are the faces of all the brothers that were killed on 9/11. That's the poster.
You've seen that 100,000 times.
Oh, I can't see it from here.
No, but I could see
it's kind of. I got a bad connection.
I see. That's pretty.
I think it's time for a thick cassette.
I think it's time for a thick cassette.
If you see this,
not bad.
If you see the etchings on the wall over here to my, I guess.
Yeah, that's
I see it.
With a pencil.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I got to get it right. Yeah. But these are the etchings from the memorial out in Colorado Springs. Like I said, I got Kevin O'Reilly, Dave Weiss, Paul Tegmeyer, Vinny Halloran, Dennis Mojica from Rescue One, Chris Blackwell, his name is also on that. Got Mike Arumba. I got Dennis Devlin, Jerry Schrang from Rescue 3 at the time. And what I did is I took all of those off. And as a matter of fact, Kevin O'Reilly, his father, George Riley, worked in my firehouse as a lieutenant. George was a great man. He worked with 40 truck. Kevin ended up working in Kevin's house. Kevin actually worked in his house
and was detailed to Brooklyn. And on 9/11, Kevin was killed. So what I did is when I went out to Colorado, I etched it, put it in a frame, and I gave it to George and his wife.
Pretty cool, man.
And, Jerry Schrang was another one that I wrote. Jerry, I worked in 7533. Dennis Devlin was another great, great man I worked with. He was a 7533. And, I go through the list, and those are the guys I carried with me. Paul Tegmeyer actually came into 81 and 46. And a crazy story was about almost a year before Paul came into the firehouse, I was playing in a softball tournament down in Georgia in over 40. And all of a sudden, the guy I'm playing ball with, we picked him up. The guy goes to me, "Oh, you're a New York City fireman." I said, "Yeah, I got a good friend of mine getting on the job." I said, "Really?" He goes, "What's his name?" He goes, "Oh, Paul Tegmeyer." I said, "Really?" He goes, "How?" He goes, "But he's kind of old. He's like 40 years old." I said, "Oh, wow." I said, "Oh, do you know where he's going to work?" He goes, "No, I don't know where he's going to work, but he lives up in Hyde Park." So I said, "If he lives in Hyde Park, he'd probably work in the Bronx." So going back and forth, that was the end of it. I go back to the firehouse, and all of a sudden, 8 months, a year goes by, sitting in the firehouse, say, "Oh, Chris, we got a new probie coming in." So I go, "Oh, man, okay, now I'm ready to go sit in the table." You're drooling. I had to wipe the drool off my face. The baptism at that table.
Yeah, man.
So, next thing you know, guy walks through the back door, and he's limping. And I go, "Holy shit." I go, "You the detail?" He goes, "No, I'm the probie." I said, "You're the probie and you're walking like that?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What's your name?" He goes, "Paul Tegmeyer." Paul Tegmeyer came into my firehouse.
Fuck out of here.
And a year later, you know what, Lou? I got other stories about how things come to a complete circle. The biggest thing is now Eric Tegmeyer is now in a New York City firefighter, Paulie's son. What ended up happening was I was out and I did a lot of volunteer work with the Tunnels to Tower, and they have a 9/11 museum that travels around the country. And I'm out in Indiana, and we're at the FDIC. And you have at the very end of the FDIC, they do a parade where everybody goes and walks around the stairs. So I'm out there with Steve Wall, Lieutenant Steve Wall from 42 Engine. So we're standing out there, and all of a sudden they start to march up the stairs. And the first person I stop to see who she's walking for is Paul Tegmeyer. And I start crying my eyes out, man. I get emotional. And the woman's like, "Oh my God." I go, "No, you don't understand. I work with Paul." And then all of a sudden, a couple of people later, stop somebody else, and it's Dennis Mojica. Now, I never worked with Dennis, but on that Saturday, the 6-story stairwell, I was in the hole that we got Dennis's body out about 3:00 in the afternoon. And I was in the hole digging out his body. The next person, 3-4 people later, Dennis Mojica comes by with the picture on. And it was overwhelming. So what happens is I go back to the hotel, and I'm standing in the hotel, and God be my witness, I'm standing in the hotel, and I look up, and I raise my hands into the sky, up to the ceiling. I go, "Paulie, thank you so much for that beautiful message you just sent me. Thank you so much." And Lou, God be my witness, my phone starts vibrating. And I look at the phone, and it's Eric Tegmeyer, Paul's son, calling me up. And I'm like, I look at it and go, "Wait, maybe I accidentally dialed him or whatever, And then all of a sudden I look at the text, and he goes, "Chris, I just wanted to tell you, I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in a while, but I just want to tell you, I'm graduating. I'm getting on the job. I'm graduating on Thursday down in Brooklyn, and I want you to be a guest." This kid calls me up while I got my hands extended in the sky, looking and talking to his father. And what ended up happening is I tell him, "Listen, Eric, you never believe it. I just went and seen, I sent them, I got a picture of the woman too. I sent them the picture," and he goes, "You know what, Chris? That's how my father works. Nice. That's how my dad works."
Where does he work now, Chris?
I get back, I go down to Brooklyn, I go over, and I stood there and watched the kid become a New York City firefighter. He comes in the back, and I'm standing there, and he looks at me with a big smile, and he knew he couldn't hug me. I wanted to give him a hug, but eventually at the end of the day, Dad, he went up and brought him up, and they interviewed me. They asked me if I wanted to be interviewed, and I talked about his father. And I said, you know what? The kid's got the eye of the tiger. He has a guardian angel that's watching over him.
Nice.
That I can attest to. And these are some of the things that have happened.
Where does the kid work?
So, you know, for us.
Where does the kid work? Where is he working? Is he on the? He's on.
Oh,
the
he
job?
works in 58 truck. He's got.
Nice.
He was working with Joe Prince. They call him the Prince.
Yeah, the Prince. Yeah, he just retired.
He's a great. He went into his house, so he was with him for a few years, and the captain just retired. He's a great guy, Prince.
Well, we tried to get him on the show, but it's not his style.
Not his style.
He's you know what, he's very emotional, like we all are.
Yeah.
And I think you know, there's things that we can talk about, and there's things that we break down about. And you know, a lot of people don't understand. You know, September 11th to some people are one day. September 11th to us is every single day. You know, on September 11th, you get emails and text messages and phone calls and everything. You know, every one of us get it. You know, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Then all of a sudden, you know, the next day comes, 2-3 days, a month, 2 months later. You know, they kind of like set back in place, but we carry that with us every single day for the past, you know, going on 23 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look for those great messages like
cool.
Eric Tegmeyer.
Yeah.
You know, the great messages that we get. And I mean, that's kind of like another reason why I sat down and wrote that book, because I want everybody to understand about faith, hope, and never giving up. Those are 3 things that we live with. You know, from the day of the World Trade Center, the attacks, those are 3 things that we've lived with for 23 years. You know,
hey,
I appreciate you guys so much for giving Phil and I the opportunity to come on and at least, you know, tell our stories. I mean, I really appreciate you guys.
I wanted to ask Phil, like,
Yes, sir.
hanging out, being around your dad and seeing, you think you were able to capture that in a show? You think you're able to capture what, it's hard to even explain, put into words, what the love of the job and the.
Well, my dad retired out of the Rock. He worked for MSU in the last few years of his career. So I spent a lot of time at the Rock. I got to meet these guys, got to listen, got to eat with them, had to do the dishes. I understood the game. So to capture that cinematically, it is possible. I recently rewatched Rescue Me just to kind of get an idea on what they did.
Just thinking of that when you said that. It's
I've watched everything.
It's pretty cool.
I know how to watch a film. I know how to critique a film. I know how to instruct a cinematographer on this is what they did. This is what was wrong because this is what we have to capture in order to achieve yada, yada, yada. So I understand the language of the business, I guess. It can be done. You got to have you just got to have the right actors who actually put in the work and actually spend time at the kitchen table, or else it's just going to be disingenuous. It's not going to be authentic. It's going to be a performance, and it's going to be, there's going to be a disconnect where you're not going to capture the brotherhood because you haven't walked in the shoes. It's just,
you know, it's funny you say that, Phil. I never watched Rescue Me, but if I have watched a snippet of it and guys are at the kitchen table, it seems like,
well, the thing about Rescue Me is that they have every single, like, every firehouse has a guy who's drunk. Every firehouse has a guy who's a gambler. Every firehouse has a guy. This firehouse has everybody in the same goddamn firehouse, bro. You know,
it's the same unit. It's
the counseling unit. Counseling unit.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, I'll never say a bad thing about Rescue Me. I thought it was I thought it was actually spectacular.
Oh, it was good.
I think it was the closest.
It is the closest.
It is the closest,
but it still seems a little.
It's there's 2 different ways to describe why that is. It's because you guys listen to the radio, you could hear how a song is being performed. You can listen to the exact same song live at Madison Square Garden, and it's a totally different experience. That's the difference. To capture something cinematically, it's going to be a little bit more challenging, but I think you make up the difference when you watch something in theaters, because it's not so much what you're watching that leaves that impression on you, especially when you watch it for the first time. It's everybody who you're with simultaneously together watching that same thing that leaves that impression at the same time. So that's the connection right there.
I gotta tell you, there ain't much competition out there, because I try to watch some of the fire department shows out there right now, and I'm like, holy shit, these suck, man. They're just so they're not there. They're terrible.
Do you think the missing element is somebody that actually works the spot, like you said, bringing that realism? And even though actors can be good and bring certain things to the table, but if you don't have a guy that's filled those shoes, it's hard to capture it. I mean, to the T, like for those of you guys that work that table, to bring that realism to the screen.
Yeah, Phil, my suggestion too, get all firemen. Yeah, they're the only ones who can bring it to the screen, bro.
The realism.
They can. Like Fireland is based on true circumstances. It's based on truthful characters, where it's almost like these characters are a little bit fictitious, not exactly cliche or stereotypical, but they are exactly what the reflection or the parallel or the mirror image of a firefighter is. And that's what I wrote. That's what I was going for. The podcast may very well articulate that audibly, which would be a little bit challenging, especially when it's just actors, just give me the basics. It's definitely there, but it's more than possible to pull off.
You hire guys with bad tickers?
I mean, like we got
Chris and Louie all ready to go.
We got Cam. There's so much room. I started out as a background actor. I highly recommend you do that.
Listen, I got to be right at the top.
Pick me.
Yeah. Guys, let's put up the Fireland piece that we got, so you guys can.
Oh, you want to do the little?
Yeah.
This guy.
I want to listen for like 30 seconds.
I listened to it already. Whatever you
You'll
want to do.
Enjoy a good 3 minutes. Like
you want 3 minutes? Is that what you were good about?
Like if you want to do it all the way up until the end of the monologue, that's around the 5 minute, 6 minute mark. That's a good taste of the demo, and I guess you let the audience listen to that.
All right, you guys ready? Here we go.
Go for it.
The Astoria Filmmakers Club proudly presents Fireland.
It was a cold, windy day on Randall's Island. The sky was gray. I couldn't see where the sun began or the clouds ended. No shadows can be seen from any direction. Proby stood scattered in the center of the academy. They call it the Rock. In two parallel lines, they were cheering, whistling, yelling his name.
A female cadet, Rita, is sprinting between the parallel lines of cadets, closing in on an overweight Proby, Oscar. We see the Amtrak train in the distance passing by over the academy gate. Oscar tags his teammate Jake, and he sprints towards a smoky building. Rita tags Ben, and he pursues Jake. The parallel-lined cadets break ranks and close the lane and watch Ben chase Jake to the final obstacle course.
Let's go, Shep!
Lieutenant Ian, the lead instructor at the Rock, is heard in the distance on a loudspeaker.
60 seconds!
Followed by a loud roar of cadets urging Ben and Jake to move it. Jake takes a sledgehammer and hits an MTA bus tire. A drill sergeant guides him. Ben closes in on Jake and whales the sledge into the tire in short spurts. Jake hits the tire harder and harder, but causes the hammer to bounce off the tire, losing his momentum. Ben meets Jake at the finish line, and they walk quickly to put on full firefighter gear. They both dress at equal pace, wearing boots, gloves, jacket, helmet, and irons. They both enter a wooden box tunnel and crawl their way in the dark. Ben exits the end of the crawl space tunnel holding a teddy bear in hands, the drill instructor waiting for Ben.
Return to the start of the tunnel. Undress, cross the line, take the bear to your CO, okay?
Yes, sir.
Jake exits his tunnel with a stuffed animal too, an ox.
Walk quickly, do not run. Return to the start of the tunnel, undress, then you can cross the line, okay?
Sir. Okay, after you cross that line, give the animals to your CO. What are you looking at me for? Do it!
They strip off their gear and lay the jacket, helmet, gloves, irons, and boots on the table at the start of the wooden tunnel. Ben is able to put on his sneakers and tie them, running a moment before Jake.
10, 9, 8, 7.
Ben, followed by Jake, sprints back towards the cadets at full speed as Lieutenant Ian continues to count down on a loudspeaker from the inside of a fire truck. The cadets reform the lanes, opening the view of the finish line. At the finish line is a large firehouse bell from the late 1860s. Ben sprints between the lines of roaring probies. With 1 second to spare, Ben crosses the line meters ahead of Jake. The company goes wild. Lieutenant Ian sounds the rig's horn at the count of 0. Jake rings the bell 1 full second after the rig horn blows. Michael runs up to Ben ahead of Bravo Company, giving him a high five and slap on his ass.
Yeah, great job, Benny.
Other probies continue to congratulate Ben. Jake is seen pissed off that he lost. Jake refuses to talk or acknowledge anyone in the company who attempt to console him. Lieutenant Ian gets out of the fire truck and closes the driver's side door behind him.
Oh, yeah? Great job. Half of you just lost to a bunch of women. Now hydrate and fall in. Come on.
We see Ben's face after he's trying to catch his breath. Alex and Rita are among the last to congratulate Ben as they hustle to get water.
Awesome, bro.
Good job, Ben.
Yeah, thanks.
Bravo Company hustles to the fountain and drinks water. Ben walks to the horse-shaped water fountain with his arms down, still holding the teddy. He looks at it. It was old, burnt mildly around the back. Its facial features, eyes, nose, and mouth were gone, melted away. Smoky and graying as if it were barbecued, Ben takes a deep look at the bear.
Are you gonna keep that?
Nope.
Then stop staring at it and let's go.
Ben takes a drink from the running fountain. The cold wind fans the water into Ben's lips. He takes 1 sip, swallows. On the second sip, he rolls it down his mouth and spits it out. He jogs to the line, 300 cadets at attention. Lieutenant Ian is standing waiting for the company to stand at full attention. Ben jogs up to Lieutenant Ian.
Sir.
Lieutenant Ian takes the bear, already holding the ox in his other hand. Ben runs into line. Lieutenant Ian looks at the bear as if they've known each other his whole career. Lieutenant Ian begins to pace across the view of the cadets and addresses them. All eyes forward as they listen carefully.
So where were you? That is the question. Were you there? Someday the time will come when you'll look yourself in the mirror, older, grayer, and you'll ask yourself, where were you? What did you do?
You want to keep going, Phil?
Well, ask yourselves now what that answer might be. Well, I did my job.
Yeah, you're not really going to spoil anything.
I did everything I had to do.
Yeah, that's good, guys.
That day will come, and you'll have
That's
to
good. You wanna
answer
stop?
to no one but.
So that reminds me of a couple of times when we were in the car. I listened to like the Civil War or something like that, right? And it's just exactly like that story.
Like an audio play type of a thing?
Yeah. Almost like you're reading the book.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's a book on tape. That's why I listen to them all the time.
Audiobooks. That was what I was going for, because I just honestly, to get your screenplay, to get your script in front of a producer, to give them the time to actually sit and read it, it's the chances of that happening are probably 1,000,000 to 1 or more. Could be 10,000,000 to 1. At least with this, they don't have to work. They can listen to it first, get the vibe on what the story is actually about. And if the public actually shows interest and is actually donating to it, then that's it. Like the decision is already halfway made.
So where can these guys listen to this again? So let's get some interest in this, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
What is that noise?
So yeah, to listen to the whole thing.
It's Chris's thing. I don't want to mute him out too much.
Oh, all right.
So we have the you have the
where
Fireland
can they
book.
listen to it? On Spreaker, right? Fireland on Spreaker.
You got Spreaker, you got YouTube, you got Amazon Music, SoundCloud. It's possible it's on iTunes. I just didn't really check there. But if you type in Fireland podcast play, or even if you go to ASTORIAFilmmakers.org or text the link, it's all going to bring you to the audio presentation.
I'll put the link back up.
You just got to find the link.
There we go.
Text Fireland for the link to 646-681-2810.
Okay, Chris, is there any shout outs that you want to give? Anybody that you're working for? Any donations or anything that?
No, I mean, it comes down to the, whoever purchases the book, $5 goes to a good cause. To a right now, it's either a veteran, most likely an older veteran, even a young guy, or if I see a disabled vet. One of the best ones that we have right now is the Steven Silla Tunnels to Tower. That's probably one of the best that they have out there right now.
It's on Amazon, Chris?
No, it's not on Amazon, but I mean, if you want, they look for $11 donation a month for everybody. I mean, I was saying if every firehouse in New York City could take the meal money and everybody put $1 in, by the end of the month, you donate $11 per month per firehouse, and the money goes basically to help us first responders. It also helps the young guys coming back with totally disabled, injuries.
I'm going to try to get him on. I have Frank Silla's cell phone. I'm going to give him a call because I went to Proby school with Steven Silla, so I'm going to try to get him on the show.
That's great. I mean, at one point we were trying to do that, have every firehouse in New York City donate $11 per month. What you have to do is throw in 50 cents every meal. If you got a double house,
it's easy.
Yeah, but that's not even. We were doing the Wounded War. I mean, those guys are doing a lot of stuff, even at the firehouse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had the metal box for the Wounded Warriors.
Oh, that's right. We did. Right.
Come on, it's every meal you're throwing in money for.
Yeah,
something,
there's more than enough money to throw into.
The
towers, a ton of towels.
Every dollar donated to the Silla Foundation, 95 cents goes directly to help build houses, and now they're trying to help homeless veterans. So it definitely is the greatest foundation.
No, it is.
And what's the legacy? Like you said, Kev, it's Steven Silla. That's his legacy.
Yeah,
it's a great cause.
We may not be, like Mark Wahlberg. They got Mark Wahlberg, but we'll get him on here. Right, Ruffy? You know what I'm saying? We'll get him.
Kevin Smith knows him.
I'm gonna call Frankie.
Great story, Chris. Great story, Phil. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, everybody in the chat.
Let's get this made, dude, because we got some shit firefighter shows out there, bro.
It's like that's how I'm going to present it. If you want to listen to it first, this is the best way. If you truly want to watch this show, you donate, we'll produce it. Like that's it.
Yeah. And you walk into a place, you go, listen to me. You walk into like Paramount, and you say, listen, they're all shit out there. You got I got a good show here. Everything out there is shit. That 911 shit, garbage.
That's what I meant. Like for the 10 million to 1, it's really about having it cross your desk at the right time. But honestly, Kevin Smith made a great point. Like if you're listening to it first, you're gonna find the right script sooner.
Right.
Yeah, I got
Chris,
5 great actors.
What's that line you used again? Early in the show.
Oh yeah.
When you walk through red doors, or what was that?
Yeah, that's the when you walk through the red doors, that's considered the birth canal. And you're walking into a new life.
There's a T-shirt there, Roof. I think.
And then you hear this.
You're walking into a new life, and you get baptized at the kitchen table.
You get baptized you get born when you walk through the doors, and you get baptized at the kitchen table, Roof.
The bird canal.
I'll try to capture that in a second.
Bird canal.
The birth canal. No. You got to put that in there, Phil. You walk through the birth canal. I walk through the red doors, which through the birth canal. I get to the kitchen table, and it's baptized. I'm baptized at the kitchen table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man. You walk through those big red doors, man. That's a whole new life, and one of the greatest lives that we've had, that we were able to share.
It's the best job in the world, man.
Definitely, by far.
Dude, it oozes. Well, if Phil became a big movie star and he was pulling in like $80 million a film, maybe we'd say Chris got a better job. But
I'd be producing a lot of movies with that type of cheddar.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Manzoni checking in.
Yeah.
So listen, when it gets made into a Netflix series or something, me and Louis.
What the hell, bro? What's my name? Skip.
Gons, if you're looking for a guy with good, if you're looking for like what do they call extra?
If you need a fire chief, I'm in.
Fire chief.
Listen to the podcast. I mean, there's you never know.
I already did. If you're looking for a guy with a big head, get Gonzo.
Not a big head at all.
Well, we can fix that.
I just have hair.
Kev, you want to be the body double for the love scene.
Oh.
What? Get the body double.
Get the apple box.
Chicka wow wow, long dip.
Wow wow.
Oh,
this is
shit.
fantastic, guys.
Oh,
so
you
much
got any shout outs, Ruffy? What do you got?
No, nothing. Do we have an ad?
What?
Do we have an ad now or no?
Oh, that's right. We
do.
FRC.
We do. Before we get on the
Thank you,
FRC, I'm going to say it again. What it is Vinny Dunn coming on, Ruffy?
A couple weeks.
Couple weeks.
3
We're
weeks,
doing
yeah.
a Q&A with Vinny Dunn, the legend. Send your questions to coobspodcast@gmail.com. If you want your questions answered by, I don't have to go to, if you want
March
your questions
21st.
answered by the GOAT, Vinny Dunn, send them in to coobspodcast@gmail.com. We'll post what date he's coming on.
March 21st.
You know what, Gonzo? I take back every bad thing I said about you. Good for you. Good for you. March 21st. Send in your questions for Vinny Dunn. All right, play the commercial, Gonzo.
All right, here we go. Go.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
Okay, tonight, can this be any more plain? Dude, it's as plain as the giant crooked nose on my face, bro.
And knee.
What?
Nothing.
And knee.
And knee. Listen, tonight's old school health and safety tip of the day. I'm going to beat you over the head with it. And the guy sitting to my left over there, see him over there?
This guy.
He's living proof of it. Go get yourself checked out. Early detection, early detection, early detection. Get it done. If my brother and my father had done it, they would still be alive today. Right, Ruffy? Can I get an amen from that?
Amen.
Get an amen, man.
Amen. Ruffy went to Rob Brown. He picked up a blockage. And matter of fact, he had 2 blockages, right? They put in 1 stent, covered both. And now my buddy's going to be around for another 40 years so I can torment the living shit out of him for another 40 years, bro.
Maybe I should have went.
We'll be friends for 80 years. I want to thank Philly Gabagool for coming on tonight, bro. Me and kid with his
Gabagool.
Get the fuck
And I
out
want
of
to
here.
thank Chris for coming on, bro. Dude, like I said before, you look better today than you did when you were younger, bro. Good for you. Excellent. Good job.
Glad you found your way, bro.
Yeah. You know what? Hair is overrated, bro. Hair is overrated. Don't worry about it. All right.
He's got my back.
Who we got on Monday, Ruff? Do we have anybody for Monday? I don't remember.
Gons.
Bafango. Give me a second. We have.
I just signed up.
You do not have anybody. We need somebody.
don't?
For Monday. We need somebody. Monday's
how
wide
about
open.
Phil Senior?
Wide open. I got a book.
Phil Senior. Whoa, maybe, bro. Maybe we get Phil Senior on there. All right.
Part two, part B. I'll ask him.
Part 2, part B. We'll push Phil's podcast, and hopefully we get that made into a TV series, bro.
Well, yeah, I think so.
With starring Lou Frano and Kevin Kubler, with Chris Edwards and Gonzo as.
I don't know. I'll be something.
I think Gonzo. I think they have a spot open for Fluffer. I don't know.
Oh man.
Yo.
Man,
Hold on a minute.
I'm waiting for the remake of Tully Savalas. Who loved you, baby?
Who loved you, baby? They don't
give you
know
the
who that
eye.
is, Chris. Guys in the chat, they're not even old enough to know who that is.
No.
You kidding
No.
me?
Gonzo as Pete.
You're missing a
Gabe.
lollipop. What?
That's it. Yeah. Tootsie Pop. You're right.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. Phil, thanks for coming on, bro. It's long overdue.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tonight.
Had a lot of conversations. I hope Fireland goes well. Chris, good luck in everything. You ooze the job. It comes right out of you everywhere, bro. Once you're a fireman, you're always a fireman. There you go. File in for the lake. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris, let me ask you a quick question. Are you born a fireman or is it something that's made?
I would say I'll tell you what. If you got pop time, you're born. If you don't have pop time, you're made.
All right. There you go.
I got to say made based on everything I've ever
made.
Even though I had, father-in-law time, it was different. I was born. I walked through the big red doors, brother.
You walked through the birth canal.
You did the birth canal, baby.
Birth canal, bro. You know what I tell you? It's so funny. My wife,
Can we do the backstroke? There you go. That's good.
My wife's gonna kill me. You know what I tell my two youngest ones, my 11 and 12-year-old? I go, you came through mommy's vaginal canal. I'm like, I'm like, you did.
Man, that went south quick.
All right, guys. We'll see you on Monday. Roofy's got to go. He's got to relax. He's got to go do some yoga. He's got to do some meditation. We don't want the heart rate to get up too much, bro.
He's got a brand new ticket, man. That shit's like,
I know what
we got, bro. We'll see you guys on Monday. Phil, Chris, until then, Gons, love you, kid. Stay low and go.
God love you guys. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
brothers.
boys. We'll see you at the big one, everybody.
All right, guys. See you on the top floor. Good night.